belong, or in jail or under the ground. That's where terrorists belong. Okay, I am complete again.
Clubhouse rules.
Okay, comedian, because
Trashing out, right?
maybe not everybody want to get record, so I let Edward do what he think, and if you think you're not...
Yeah, Edward, I think you should just kick him out.
Go ahead, kick the sixth account. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to read a book anyways. I could give two shits Wednesday.
You seem a little bit mad, comedian.
I'm not angry. I just came here to roast you, fatty. Oh, that was the last one. I don't think I have any other Cloud House accounts. Through the whole...
Yeah, scroll it. I'm not even talking.
Is this the Love Boat?
I got love in here, but no. Who are you?
This isn't the Love Boat where all your dreams and fantasies come true. It's 420. Don't throw me to the goo. We are on the Love Boat, sailing off to paradise. The buffet is 24/7. I'd like some shrimp, please, on the Love Boat.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E.
That was amazing. Standing ovation.
You was showing out.
Showing the fuck. You heard them notes, NTR?
Yeah.
He was hitting them high notes like a motherfucker.
Man, what the fuck is this shit coming to, bro?
What's up, comedy?
You know what they say. No Jews, no news.
It's not necessarily the news. What's going on, Edmund?
Nothing. I gotta go to the gym and read a book. What are you doing?
I just opened my first room in a few weeks. Want to see what's going on? I'm tired of talking about the kid that got stabbed in Texas and died, unfortunately, and how it's automatically racial. I don't understand that, but okay. So I just figured I'd just open the room, and I've decided not to play nice anymore. How about that?
What are you gonna do? Put on brass knuckles and carry around a baseball bat?
How do you know I don't do that already?
I don't know.
How's Chicago?
I think the sun is out, and but it's been raining out, and the gym closes early, so I think I'm just gonna work out at the park today.
As you should. Have things improved under Trump in Chicago?
It's hard to tell.
Have they cleaned the streets up with the immigrants that were moving a block away from you?
No, they're concealing them, and they're still all over the place, and we're still paying through the nose as taxpayers. We need to doge the city. We need to doge the state. Illinois, with Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, are a cesspool of crime, propaganda, lies, and it goes from the top all the way to the mayor, to the alderman. And actually, tomorrow we have the Cook County GOP presidential election. It's like an impromptu election because my friend and I actually got the former commissioner of the Cook County Republican Party to step down because he's so ineffective, and we've roasted him so much on the internet. So internet does change politics, and I'm running for Congress, so I'm actually roasting the current congressman that I am running against. And you know how long it takes to file for Congress? I'm not making this up. It takes 15 minutes, and it doesn't cost anything. It's so easy.
I hope you win. If your burner accounts could vote for you, you win in a landslide.
I know. You know who Ish is? Remember that kid Ish on this app?
Yeah, Ish, of course.
Yeah, one day he was like, I'm doing a rap battle and I'm gambling on my rap. He's like, I need you to bring in all of your burner accounts and vote for me. So one night he pings me. He's like, quick, bring them all to my room. So I go to this room that he's in, that he's gambling in and singing, like actually doing his music. And so I voted for all his accounts, but then they they ended up cheating him and taking his money. It was pretty funny.
But hold on, I have to ask you, was he any good?
He's got a distinctive voice, so he's a good singer. I mean, but I would just say that it was a very small clip. It was good. I liked it. I mean, it was, it could be better. He could have more content and more variety, and it could be good because his vocals are good.
Got you. Steve Wee, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? Happy Easter.
Hey, man. How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
Hanging in there. Happy Easter.
Thank you. Same to you. So, what's going on in your world, man?
I don't know. Just listen to these crazy leftists, man. It's about ready to make my head explode.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. If your head's going to explode now, wait till AOC is the nominee for the Democratic presidential ticket in 2028.
She's got the star power.
She got the titties.
Yeah, she from what I hear, she's drawing big crowds, Jay.
Yeah, her and Bernie Sanders. But it's going to be between her and Mr. Gavin Newsom.
Well, did you see?
I'll tell you one thing that was hilarious. Gary, that hosts the Critical Thinking Forum, he's got a thing on Facebook where you can do like a text chat. And you got all these people in there calling Trump everything but Satan, trying to sacrifice a newborn baby and, killing grandma and everything else. And Trump puts out this text for Easter where he's going after the left, and they just have a meltdown about it. And you ask them, say, have you ever looked in the mirror what you guys are doing here? They're just so unaware, Jay. It's so unbelievable. I just sat there and just shook my head.
Well, the article on the top says Trump trolls Dems and Easter message slams Biden as highly destructive moron. So yeah, I don't understand. I gotta be honest, Steve. I didn't vote for Trump, but can somebody please come up and tell me exactly what he's doing that's so horrible? We're still united as a country. I think the economy's going to turn around. I bought eggs yesterday for $3.50 a dozen eggs. So egg prices have gone down. It's like they grab for the lowest hanging fruit just to have a personal issue with this man.
It's Trump derangement syndrome content. It's just propaganda, mind control, hypnosis. And Gavin Newsom and Rahm Emanuel try to do the same thing, but they have no platform. And I literally came across Gavin Newsom running ads, having a podcast discussion with Rahm Emanuel. So everyone's vying and trying to position themselves to obtain the power of the presidency after our glorious orange MAGA, retires and hopefully sets the ship straight. But it's all about future, movements and activity based on communication now.
Well, let me say this real quick. I'm friends, or I guess whatever you consider a friend on this app, with the ladies that own Politically Correct. And I went in there today for like 2 seconds, and I just said, aren't they fucking tired of just talking about regurgitating the same shit about Donald Trump? Nobody cares. None of us matter. It's really the truth. I'm a single vote, and Donald Trump's not worried about my fucking vote. How come people are so lost at looking at him instead of just working on their own lives? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I legitimately was in that room for 2 seconds. I'm like, they're talking about the same shit, bro. Steve, enough.
He's the catch-all.
I mean, here's the thing with me. I'm in politics, and politicians are notoriously disingenuous, and they're weasels by and large. And, to think any politician, Trump's not perfect, of course he's not. But, I mean, these are the same people that sat there with Biden spacing out like he's on Prozac or something and was perfectly fine. I'm happy to say, yeah, Donald's got his problems. But he's got some things I like. He's got some things I don't like. But I think every time every time someone gets in office, I don't hang on everything that comes out of the White House or is reported on the White House is going to put me in the meltdown. You know, it's just, I don't do it, Jay.
Listen, Steve, and this is just for me as a lifelong Democrat. What's up, David? Hakeem, how you doing? LS, you're a piece. But Steve, here's the deal, bro. Get me a Democrat that comes out, that wants to run for, anyway, I don't give a fuck if they're running for dog catcher, right? Let them come out and say, you know what, we were wrong. That guy has dementia, and we should have asked him to step aside 2 years ago for the good of the country. Get me that Democrat, and they'll get my vote back. But they'll never do it, because they keep regurgitating the same fucking politicians. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, all these fucking politicians are running forever and ever. Why are there no term limits on senators, congressmen, Supreme Court justices? It's ridiculous to me.
But what if you're a good person and you actually have the we the people at the center of your heart? I mean, why should we get those people out to replace them with people that aren't we the people centered? So good does triumph over evil.
Tell me, give me one, Edmund.
Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, even Ted Cruz. I mean, these are patriots.
Ted Cruz is a piece of shit.
Well, say what you want. When you see the woke spending that Doge is exposing, how can you sit back as a taxpayer and say, oh, yeah, everything was going okay? These are frauds and scams for re-education. This DEI stuff is insane. It's mentally ill. It's fraud. And they're looting the treasury. We're $40 trillion in debt. I don't know why people aren't panicked. You should be panicked because the whole system could crash because we're so far in debt. This is a mortgage that we are paying $100 billion every month in a loan on. The Federal Reserve is not going to tell us that we're broke and that they're going to keep giving us the money that we spend, because if we do that, we have no moral fiber at all, no ethics, no virtues. We are a runaway pirate ship, most likely going to a World War III scenario with other major powers. And why the baby boomers aren't panicked themselves, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that, in my opinion, Trump is the black goat that everyone casts. Like you said, you went into politically incorrect or politically correct. All they do is use him as a mirror. Instead of fixing their own life and worrying about local shit or their own personal life, they use Trump as the catch-all, the evergreen Pepe meme, to cast all of their anger and hate and lies and propaganda on him. All their projection goes into the orange MAGA man bad. And you know that's true. Everyone uses him as a crutch. There's no real education, no real intelligence, transparency, or honesty with regards to the financial crisis in this country, which is we're $40 trillion in debt, paying $100 billion a month in interest, still spending $1 trillion a year on the military industrial complex, still buying vaccines, still keeping the lies. I mean, whatever Kennedy is going to do, it's not going to be enough. But I'm just saying that Trump is the catch-all for all of these people's projections and their mental health derangement syndromes.
Well, thank you for that. Steve, hold on 1 second. Let me just say hello to Uncle Steve real quick. What's up, Uncle Steve? Good to see you, man.
JB, happy Easter, and I hope you and everybody within the sound of both of our voices have a happy Easter and with their fam bams. Thank you.
Steve, I gracefully accept your Easter from one Jew to another. Thank you.
Thank you, JB.
Steve,
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jay. Now, a lot of people don't like to do analytics to this degree, but honestly, I think the root of everything that we're seeing right now can be traced back. There was a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. That's when the Federal Reserve was created. And I think that a lot of the things, the Leviathan of the government and the different things we see going on within our government can be traced right back to that.
Well, I'm going to pivot for a second because I want to say what I didn't get to say yesterday in a room. This kid Carmelo Anthony, right? Are you guys familiar with the story? Down in Texas, he stabbed that young man with a cleat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think one of the problems that, and it's just my opinion, we have in this country is how everything turns to race, man. Everything. That young man stabbed that other boy, not because he was white, because he felt his life was in danger. That's my opinion. I don't think he went there looking for a white kid to stab. You know, it's not like he had a fucking machete with him. He went there, he felt threatened, he defended himself, but everything's about race. And it's just, I think that's one of the major problems in this country. And it's me not, and I'm not dismissing the black plight in this country, because everybody's heard me speak on that. But at what point do we just talk as like just people, man? Why does it have to be white, black, Chinese, Mexican? I'm to the point where I just don't give a fuck what color you are. I really care less. If you're cool, I'll fuck with you. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Assholes come in all
Yeah,
colors.
but look at Uncle Steve. When people start believing in God more than they do race, we won't have these problems. Otherwise, it's racial identity politics, and that's exactly what it is.
Listen, I'm going to say something about Uncle Steve while Uncle Steve is here. He always gives me a compliment. It's the same compliment, and I accept it because I think it's a nice thing to say. But I'm going to throw it back at him. One thing about Steve Appel, he's been consistent for 4 or 5 years now. The same man you speak to today, you spoke to 3 years ago. So, you know, and he moderates some of the best spaces. But, you know, Steve, why is everything race now? Everything, Steve Appel.
Because it's easy.
Exactly. It doesn't require any IQ to do it. And I agree with you. Steve is consistent, but I think I'm consistent too. And I call racial identity politics out for what it is. It's less than spiritual. It's less than knowledge. It's less than wisdom.
Edmund, I will say this, and I say this respectfully. You have always been the same. You've been crazy from the day I met you, and you're crazy today. But you're the kind of crazy I don't mind having around.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I speak English. I read books. I'm not retarded. I went to college. I've worked a job 20 years. I mean, I'm not an incompetent schmuck, and I'm also not a racial identity politician. I don't do white identity politics. And I challenge any white identity politician or any black identity politician to debate me or anybody else who is essentially a patriot or a Republican. I mean, it's the Democrats that use racial identity politics in all their communication. It's not Republicans. They're the frauds. They're the charlatans.
I don't know, man, and I haven't been to many countries, but from what I've seen around the world, only America has these problems. This racial bullshit, you know, division amongst the parties. And I listen, there's division everywhere in the world, but the division here is next level. Like, I get people on this app in real life. What's up, Tiger? What's up, April? On this app and in real life, who, because they're lifelong Democrats like myself, won't bash Donald Trump. To like, what's wrong with you? Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? No. I have no issues with this man. I don't think he's a great person. I wouldn't have him, you know, do a business with this guy. But because I don't bash him, automatically I'm the outlier. You know, like I said, listen, I just use politically correct as an example. I like the two women that run that room. I've been friends with both of them for years now. Don't you get tired of regurgitating the same fucking stories over and over? You know, it's just bizarre. See how Uncle Steve runs his rooms is everybody gets 5 minutes. Talk about whatever you want. So you never pin down to one topic. I like that. It's a great idea.
But,
you know, but go ahead.
Eventually, I've come to the conclusion after thousands of conversations that essentially the people are just being political, and they're using whatever communication theory that they can come up with to evoke political theory. And I think that's exactly what happens in those rooms and in every room. Even in this room at this very moment, to a very subtle degree, we are still being political in this conversation. I mean, you may have voted for Kamala. A lot of people voted for, you know, Trump. And I think you would agree that Kamala would have been a huge disaster for the preservation and, you know, the sanctity of America. I mean, she's whack. And Trump is at least a normative American. But Kamala is an extremist.
Well, let me say this, Edmund. She would have been a horrible president, I believe. We don't know because that never happened. But I think Trump is a Band-Aid on the fabric of our country. And our country, and I hate to say it, is heading downhill. I don't see
But how can it be a Band-Aid?
Let me finish, because he's only in for 4 years.
But that makes you a far-right Republican then.
No, I'm not far right or far left. I'm definitely in the middle. But before we continue, I want to wish everybody a happy Easter and a happy Passover. Rabbi, happy Passover, my friend. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just frustrated with this country. I'm frustrated with the bullshit that we waste our time arguing over. The truth is, Donald Trump wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire.
That's not true.
Hold on. They're arguing over this guy that's got sent to the El Salvador prison, and Trump comes out with a picture of this guy with tattoos on his hand. Meanwhile, it looked like it was superimposed to me. Just my opinion. But you know what? The far left is crying about this guy. Where the fuck is the far left? Why don't they talk about the school of prison pipeline and all the innocent black kids that are in prison that shouldn't be there? And rest assured, there are. I read a DOJ report one time where it says anywhere between 3 and 7% of Americans incarcerated are there and are innocent. Where's all the fucking... They're worried about this guy in El Salvador. What about this generation of young black kids that are in prison that shouldn't be? Even if it's, let's say, 5%. You know how many people that is? Wrongly convicted? But nobody wants to talk about that. Let's talk about Donald Trump and what he said and him calling... Joe Biden a highly destructive moron, because that's more important. Makes no sense to me. Listen, we don't have to stay on this topic, guys. We'll go popcorn style. See if you got your 5 minutes, whatever you want to talk about.
Was that me?
Either, Steve. It doesn't matter. If you ever see that show, Bob Newhart, this is my brother Daryl, this is my other brother Daryl. Well, here's Steve, and here's my other brother Steve.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like you, Jay. We seem to latch on to the most extremes in our society. One thing that gets to me is whenever you identify with a group, you take on certain characteristics that may or may not be you. That's one thing. Like with me, I've never been like someone that's going to be someone running in a herd just so I won't be seen and won't be heard. I'm going to say what I say, and I'm going to be who I am. And if that puts me in the herd, then okay. If it don't put me in the herd, that's okay too. But I think we've entered this almost herd-like mentality in this country. Like, I got to belong to this group or this group. I can't vary from my opinions one way or the other. And that becomes tribal. And when you get into
that sounds like Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's right. And when you become tribal, there can be no good outcome from tribalism, because tribalism will eventually breed conflict. So until people can quit identifying that my whole identity is wrapped up in one thing or it's wrapped up in another, it's only going to spiral out of control, I think. That's just me.
Well, let me tell you something. I've hosted maybe 3 or 4 rooms over the last 2 months because I'm just tired of the tribalism, like you said. Listen, I pretty much know when people come in our room where they stand because we've had so many of these rooms. Then I go over to Chatter, and I like Chatter. I think Chatter has a lot of potential, but it's very cliquey. And if you're not part of that clique, you're getting no traction. And over here in Clubhouse, all somebody has to do is start a rumor, and it goes off like wildfire. Like, I'm going to start a rumor that I'm a fake judge. I was in the IDF. I can get you put on a no-fly list. And, bro, you know what? Within 2 days, I'll be a fake judge on this app. People will be like, Your Honor, what's going on?
JB, I just think you need to use some positive reframing all the time on this app. Like, for example, there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. Meaning that Trump's presidency was the destiny. The right man won in the election. But other reframes are like vanity of vanities. There's a lot of vanity on this app. And that's a problem. Tribalism is like it's like the Trinity. I mean, it's not going away. Cliques form naturally. We are animals, and these things happen. But I'm just telling you that I know without any drama, there's not an interesting show. But that's what these people on this app are doing. I'm telling you that you're falling prey to their trap. And So the way to look at it from a communication theory perspective is that the prime green bean is technically like a spider or a fisherman, and everybody is caught in their net of despair. And really, it's very low IQ intelligence, which is happening. Not many people are really going into communication theory, political theory, startup theory, business theory. I mean, it's not nothing really academic or intellectual is truly happening here. It's very social. It's like birds chirping in a tree.
Well, let me say this, and I say this respectfully, right? I know every time I open a room, I'm definitely not the smartest person in that room. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be the smartest. I also know I cultivate a good room because I get everybody involved. Like there's people, somebody may not like Tiger. Just because you don't like Tiger doesn't mean I have to dislike Tiger or Steve. I mean, you know how much smoke I get for letting you come to my stages? And I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I like him. If you have a problem with him, that's your problem. That's not a me problem.
No, I know.
It's
That's
just,
what it is. It's a lot of you problems on this app.
you know, like for me, I don't give a
You
shit.
get a lot of smoke for me being in your space, Jay.
No, just Edmund. Really, Edmund the most.
No, I like Steve. Steve, I like your commentary, but I will just also point out that the amount of projection on this app, and I'm talking insane projection, is unbelievable. And it's like pure projection. People speak uninhibited here in a way that you can't actually hear in real society or in other media. So, thus, you get real deep projection on this app. People leak all kinds of shit on this app about themselves through their projection. It's unbelievable, but this is like a pure projection app. And I mean that in the most literal sense of the word, that when people project on here their insane political takes, it's like actually you're watching in real time an index of morality or ethics or virtue and the lack thereof. And thus you hear all the insane political rhetoric regarding Carmelo Anthony. There's a major morality problem. And I mean, I'll tell you the truth, even in undergrad, if you take a class in morality, ethics, logic, etc., it's still not really enough. I think as a society, we have to spend a lot of time on the education of virtue and ethics and morality and culture, really, at the end of the day.
I disagree with you. Because, and I'm going to say this respectfully. What makes anybody else's morality or virtues right for me? See what I'm saying?
I'm just saying that there's a whole education behind it, like I was reading Confucius yesterday, and when you read the sacred writings of Confucius, it's all about ethics, morals, and virtues. It's very it's in the books. I'm just telling you, there's not a real education around ethics, morals, or virtues in this country from an academic perspective.
Well, it's definitely not going to be in this app. Certainty, what's good, bro?
How you doing, JB? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling fantastic. Beautiful day here in New York City. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm just,
You can be like everybody else on Clubhouse and complain. It's all good.
These days, man, I'm just, there's nothing on TV but Trump signing orders, so that's fun, and catching up on my shows.
Well, I don't really watch TV other than maybe documentaries, but let me ask you a question, man, because you and I have had dialogue for a few years now. It's always been respectful, and I'm going to ask you this respectfully. Why has everything come down to race? This Carmelo Anthony thing, bro, it wasn't about race. It was a kid that was scared, and he stabbed somebody. He didn't stab a white kid because he was white. He stabbed him because he was scared.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different details of the case, and I was in a room about it yesterday. So, put it like this, simply put, regardless of the type of assault that's occurring, when you engage in a confrontation with someone, whether you decide to defend yourself, whether you're scared, you name it, when you're 17 years old, you have to look at it as equal combat. And what I mean by that is, if I were to be raising a child, I would tell them that if someone approaches you to fight you, you have to defend yourself, but do not use a weapon. A weapon should be a last recourse. Now, some would say, well, you don't know what you would do in fear, and he used a weapon because he was in fear.
fear has nothing to do with the law, right? I fear going to jail for life much longer than taking a little ass whooping. So I think this is a mix of two things. These young cats not understanding that you need to take an ass whooping sometimes, and then also people getting into altercations and utilizing